Hello, welcome back to the Hearth. I wanted to do a video exercise today about boundaries, and I've been working a lot on boundaries with myself, with my clients, and felt inspired to do something for the Hearth. So, what's wonderful is that feeling and expressing boundaries has become something that is more popularly being explored in even mainstream culture. So it's great that it's being discussed and people are exploring how to do that. And then I just wanted to bring in the pre and perinatal somatics insight into that exploration. So often when we think of boundaries, we think of a no. So we are starting to learn how to say no to things that we may have said yes to and not really wanted to say yes to. And so that's one part of the exploration of boundaries. But the no, that's something we learn at 2 years old, the no and mine. It's actually an exploration of feeling myself, feeling where I end and someone else begins. And so within that space is me. And so it's not, no is just one part of it, but another part of it is really like feeling my sense of self, feeling my values, feeling my impulses, and not only feeling my no, but also feeling my yes and my maybe. And so it's something that I can feel for myself. And then when we really start working with boundaries, we can also support other people in their boundaries. So a boundary is not just something for me to have to express alone, but a boundary is something that I can support somebody else in. Even if they're not really clearly communicating the boundary, I might, if I'm curious, start to have a felt sense of what is this expression of somebody else's boundary that they're trying to communicate, even if they haven't done it in the most clear way. So it's exploring my yes, no, and maybe in myself, and then supporting other people in their yes, no, and maybe. So the expression of boundaries is actually a relational process. It's not just about me having to do battle on my own to have my walls, to have my boundary, but it's feeling, yes, I want more of that. No, I don't want that. And maybe let me feel into that and consider it. So the exercise I want to introduce is very simple. So this might be easier if there are requests or invitations that come in written form in an email or text message. So that might be easier to start with. And then eventually you can do this even face to face or on the phone with somebody. So the way we bring in the pre and perinatal somatic principles is to work with what is my felt sense? What is it that I feel in my body as I am sitting with a request or an invitation? And oftentimes when we feel into things, we might start with, this is where it's great to be doing this with a written invitation or request. So you have plenty of time to slow down and explore this. So it might begin by me just doing some kind of simple body-centered practice where I let myself feel my body, feel my weight. Just now, when I started to speak of it, I felt my breath. And so begin with that. And then once I have that connection with my body, then to explore the invitation or request somatically in an embodied way. And if I've done a lot of this kind of work, I might have a felt sense in my body of what do my adaptive behaviors feel like. So, for example, for me, I tend to accommodate other people. So my way of surviving was being pleasant and accommodating. So I might feel the sensations and feelings that are familiar to me of that adaptive strategy. And for some of us, we might feel resistance. So we might feel an automatic no. And that could also be an adaptive strategy that is not really giving us a sense of our our own choice in the present moment. So that's something to feel into as you're sitting with a request or an invitation. And then I know for myself, for example, when I think of something that's scheduled at a particular moment and I'm looking at my calendar, I notice, do I feel a constriction or do I feel an expansion? So I know for myself that I also have an adaptive strategy of pushing through my own limits. And so I might notice, oh, I'm feeling constriction. Like maybe that's a little too much on that day. And if I think of not doing it, then I might feel some ease. So notice, what kind of sensations in the present do you feel as you're considering your yes, no, and maybe? And then I really like the maybe part of this because sometimes I'm willing to just sit with it and feel into it over time, maybe sleep on it or give it a few days, and then just see, how does my relationship with that request or invitation, how does that develop over time as I sit with it and sit in inquiry. So that's my invitation for an exercise. Again, it's easier if you start with written, like a text message or an email, that you slow down with it, feel into it. And you might, again, start with some kind of body-centered exercise just to orient yourself in the body first. And then explore somatically, what are the sensations I might be feeling that are from my history or my adaptive behaviors? And also, what kind of messages might I be feeling in my body that have to do with my yes or no, or maybe in the present moment? So have fun with that exploration. And I'll also include a little written piece about boundaries and working with those to support this exploration. Okay, see you again at the hearth. Thank you all.